So I know we talked a little bit on the phone, but do you guys want to relay the story again of how it all started, how you guys got into this?
Sure. Do you want me to start?
Yes, you start.
Okay. So we both had kids the same age. My son and her daughter are the same age in the same class. And we were at, I guess it was preschool, right?
Yeah.
And we met, and then at some point we're just like, we need to be friends. And so we hung out, of course, and we smoked some weed together. And then we're like, yeah, you like smoking pot? And she's like, yeah, I do too. So then we started hanging out kind of regularly, and then we were both kind of stay-at-home moms. I was a realtor in the past. I've been in sales. I was an insurance inspector. She started her mothering a lot younger than I did. So we were kind of at the same phase in our lives, but just a little bit. I'm 10 years older than she is.
Oh, okay.
So. Anyways, and then we were just talking and we're like, hey, we should make some sort of cannabis product, They're going to legalize it soon, blah, blah, blah.
Right, because we have both been in the industry since we've been living in Humboldt for so long. I know I've been in all parts of the industry, and they were finally legalizing it, and we were wanting to be part of it. We wanted to stay active in the cannabis industry. So we came up with an idea.
And our first idea was Betty Chronic, taking Big Brownie Mix. And we were like, okay, Betty Chronic is genius. It's such a good name. But then we're like, fuck, we're going to get sued by Betty Crocker for sure the minute we launch.
Probably a safe call.
And so we just were like, we can't afford that. So we did some consulting with a consulting firm about our product. People were kind of like into the licensing stuff. And the whole time we were looking for a place to manufacture that we didn't have to get our own license just because we didn't have the coin to be able to do that.
Yeah, that upfront capital, I would imagine, is a lot.
Is a lot. And then finding a place and then outfitting the place and then the licensing on top of it. Plus all the legalities of it. We weren't prepared for that. We're just kind of like, we have this great idea. Like, where can we do it? So during the consulting session, it came to the light that the dosing of a brownie mix would be really hard, and it'd be hard to make it legal. So then we were like, what else can we do? And then we started talking about cannabis infused sugar. And then once that kind of hit, we're like, that's what we should do.
How did that idea come about? Because that's such a simple idea, like I said, but crazy and that it's almost perfect.
Well, we wanted to make the take and bake brownie mix really easy and simple and clean. So the way we were medicating it was already with cannabis infused sugar. So it was a dry mix. So
that was already part of it.
Since we couldn't dose the whole brownie, batch, we just decided to go with the sugar. Just sell the sugar, and then people can make their own recipes and put it in whatever they'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And so you guys said you were already part of the cannabis industry. Was that on the manufacturing side,
Let's
or
just call it
consumer?
garage grow?
Okay, yes.
And like hustling sales, trimming, like total trim. That was like another side hustle.
Just in the lifestyle of it.
Yeah. And then, getting employed by doing trimming or driving or transporting or whatever.
Just kind of hustling, doing whatever you could do.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And how long were you guys doing that before you were like, okay, we need to make our own thing here?
Probably 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
10 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think it's been about 5 years since we've been from concept to actual.
To now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, and then we've been manufacturing for over a year since we launched in March of last year is when we launched the sugar line. And so it's been a year. And then before that was just a lot of, that was a hustle, like trying to find a place. And we would go to all these places and be like, what do you think about that? It's like, yeah, it sounds great. No, can't help you out, and it was complicated, like getting licensing and having it be all legal. Like we'd have to sign these crazy licensing agreements that weren't necessarily benefiting us. And so it became kind of apparent that at some point we needed to actually try to get our license or find a place that could let us be pretty autonomous and be able to manufacture and just kind of work our magic on our own without having some heavy duty oversight, and somebody going, okay, so you get 25 cents and I get $5 per unit, we wanted to make some coin if we were going to do it,
And it's your guys' idea.
It's
We
our
don't want to
idea.
just sign that away.
Yeah, and we were doing all the manufacturing. We do, all the marketing. We do all the sales. We do all the bookkeeping, all the packaging, labeling, designing the label, all of that stuff. We
Is
did
any
on
of
our
that
own.
automated, or you guys are doing that all by hand?
We do it all by hand.
Well, the
Well,
machine packages it in the little sticks.
Okay.
So.
And that's a whole nother story. The machine has been an adventure in itself.
Just troubleshooting?
Yeah, troubleshooting this giant machine, we have overcome and we have really learned everything there is to know about that machine, I think.
Well, it was funny because we're like, okay, so now we got the idea, we have the concept, we have the external packaging, we have our logo, which is the little spoon mandala, which we're like, this is genius. And then
Solid
we're like,
logo, by the way.
Yeah, it's a great logo. So we're like, what should we do? How are we going to package it? And then Kara's like, I found this machine. I was like, yeah. And she's like, I ordered the machine. And I was like, what? She's like, it'll be here in like 3 months. And I'm like, holy crap. And so sure enough, Kara and I are like driving down to San Francisco to go pick up this 700-pound machine. Bring it up
in
to
a box,
Humboldt,
yep.
and it was in her garage for a long time where we did a lot of troubleshooting, and Kara's really intimate with the machine.
I'm a mechanic now.
Yeah, she's a mechanic. She's the production
Trial
manager.
by error, right?
Well, yeah, I mean...
It just spending so much time with it really gets, you get to know it.
And I can't imagine there are a lot of YouTube videos explaining how to use it.
No, the manual had like 4 pages.
Yeah,
and it was from China, so it was a Chinese manual. So it's like none of it's like, if you hear an inharmonious sound, turn machine off. And we're like, okay. But then Kara, like, I don't know, she would just go out there and like look at it and like be like, turn it on and kind of figure out how it all kind of worked together. And then, we just started packaging it, and then it was like getting the right weight and making sure that the length was right, that it would fit inside the box, and making sure it was dumping right. And then we had like full Lucy and Ethel moments where like sugar's like coming off the top and like spraying all over the place, and the sticks are flying out everywhere, and none of them were sealed. And, so there was a lot of growing pains with that for sure.
I like that little subtle plug there. That's why I named this podcast that, is because that's all part of life, right?
It
is.
Is.
Just going through those, especially as a small business, that's all part of the fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not in the moment fun necessarily, but just overcoming that. And now you have a great story out of it.
Yeah, no. And
that's a pretty great story.
It was. So we finally find a place out in Willow Creek that we're going to manufacture. We're paying like big bucks to be out there. We're all set up. We have all this sugar made. We had 150 pounds of sugar already made. We're getting ready to package it. Of course, we pour all the sugar in the machine. We're like, turn it on, and it doesn't work. And we're like, crap. And then we're like, great. It's Chinese New Year, so they're off for like a month. And we're just like, we're dead in the water. We're ready to launch, ready to go. Dead in the water. And so Kara and I are like, okay, we'll try to email them. And then I was like, there's other manufacturers of these types of machines in the United States. Let's try to find somebody who has one. And then I found this guy that does repair the Chinese machines. And we got on FaceTime with him and just showed him the machine when it was on, and he figured out what was wrong with it.
Just over FaceTime. Oh, how lucky is that?
Oh, he got a nice big care package from us.
We sent him a really big care package. And he's like, after that, he's like, I'll help you anytime you want.
Yeah, here's my direct line. Just call me.
Let me know what you need. And he was really sweet. So that was like so lucky for us. So we were only down, a couple weeks before we were able to actually start manufacturing. And then again, it was Lucy and Ethel style, like just with getting the weights right and everything and packaging it all. And we did it.
Yep. And we've come a long way now. Now we've come up with some pretty good systems.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a roll now.
You guys are in the groove.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it by weight of the sugar, that's the THC content?
No. The weight of the sugar inside the stick is 2 grams, which is a half a teaspoon. So we have to make sure that there's a half a teaspoon of sugar in each stick. And there's 5 milligrams of THC in each half a teaspoon.
Okay. And so this machine then just packages the sugar.
It just packages it.
Okay.
So basically our process is we make a bunch of sugar and then we test that big batch. And of course there were batches that we didn't test. And then we wish we had tested, and then, those sorts of things happen. So, because a big expense in the cost of the product is just the COA testing, which is the compliance testing, which you can bring it to market after you've had that compliance test. So anybody who's buying our sugar has to have that compliance test attached to that actual product.
And that's just quality assurance. And
it is.
This
it
is
is.
the actual
and then
THC
also
content.
knowing that the dosing's right, especially with edibles. And so, it comes out to close to $1 a unit if you don't make enough. So you have to make larger quantities to warrant that the cost of the testing, to make sure that it's not coming out to $2 a unit, or it's something that's a little more affordable.
Can you guys do this testing in-house, or you have to send it somewhere?
You have to send it out, and it's expensive. It's $750 per COA. So
is it going down south?
Goes down to Sonoma. We work with Sonoma LabWorks. They're great. They've been really helpful with us and really on point and, talking to us about their process and stuff. So that's been really cool. So we've had some good partnerships too, working in the industry, definitely people helping us along the way. And it's just so funny because it's like, just random people be like, oh my God, I heard you're making that sugar. I know someone, so it's always a lot of friends and support from the community that have helped us get this far, for sure.
That's cool when it grows just by word of mouth like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure you guys are pushing promo online. Do you guys have like social media pages and
Yes,
stuff
we do. Humboldt Sugar Co. on Instagram and Humboldt Sugar Co. on Facebook. We also have a website, and that is HumboldtSugar.com.
Yeah, so the Insta stuff too, we weren't very active on, and then we kind of realized that we needed to kind of up our game. Cara's sister just moved up here from Gilroy, and she's really competent in making reels and really good, content that's interesting to people. And some of it's funny, and some of it's, a little more serious or sexy or whatever it is, but just to kind of keep people guessing. Yeah, for sure. And in the last few months, we've gotten a lot more active on Insta on our own, just like being like, okay, let's do this. And it's been really fun too.
It's crazy how much those reels make a difference when you start posting those. We didn't
kind of a game changer. Really know about that. Our Becky,
really, our PR person,
our PR person, Becky, has really helped us with our social media page too.
And presence, and doing PR and outreach, to customer service and stuff like that. She's been great.
Do you guys get a lot of customer service calls?
No, it's more like right now, just like an outreach situation, like for 420, she's like, we should do this like Sugar Love 420, promo thing. And so we sent packages of swag and gave a select few dispensaries a bunch of free sugar to do a promo for 420. You're just out of like customer appreciation, because that gives them flexibility within their store to be able to promote it however they want, whether they give it away or sell it at half price or, it just gives them incentive to want to actually promote it. And so lots of sharing on Insta, like, oh, we did this on our page, and we put it on our, our page, and they put it on theirs. So
cross promotion and stuff.
Yeah.
I just started diving into the reels for the podcast, and it's crazy seeing how much traction you can get just from a 60-second video. I'd never really looked into it. I was like, I don't really need to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big social media guy. I've had to be for the podcast, and even in that, it was just insane seeing, if you just post one reel a day, it kind of makes a difference. I could imagine that's the same for you guys.
Pretty much. We definitely saw a difference after we started doing reels. We were not super comfortable in front of the camera at first, but it is very fun once you get out into the forest or in the poppy field.
And do whatever you want with it.
Yep.
And then, so now like we kind of explore sounds, and we're like, this is hilarious. We have to do this sound. And then you have to be creative about thinking about, okay, what are you going to do for the sound to make it read, on the reel? And so that's been really fun, doing some of that. That's like the really fun part about the business is like promoting it, I think.
Yeah.
How do you guys take do you guys distill the cannabis down with like turn it into ice hash and add it to the sugar? How does it get added to the sugar?
So we use distillate. The reason we use distillate is because it doesn't smell and it doesn't taste. So when you're baking with our sugar or putting it in your drink, you're not going to change the flavor of your recipe. So we actually turn the distillate into a tincture and then we infuse the sugar that way.
And you guys do that all in-house?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we have been buying, we have to.
Well, we purchase the distillate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't make that, but you
yes,
we make the tincture. Yeah.
Okay.
We make the tincture. And then, the distillate has to be from Humboldt County because we're Humboldt Sugar Company. So because that is part of our name, you have to source all of your cannabis from Humboldt County. So that is a requirement. So we've been using.
Oh, that's not a self-imposed rule. You guys actually have to do that.
Yeah.
No,
The way you said that, I was like, oh, that's cool. You guys are sourcing locally. I didn't realize that was a have to.
No,
thing.
we had to because we put and that was also a struggle. Like, what do we name it? What are we gonna call it?
Great name, by the way.
You know what I mean?
Solid
It's like,
name.
well, and then we're like, we could be flexible. Like, if we decided, like, if the cannabis sugar didn't go off, we could make our own flavored sugars and sell them at the co-op and still have a brand and everything. Something that wasn't cannabis infused, or CBD sugar or something like that. It gave us a little more flexibility with what we could do with the product as it evolved, and the line of products that evolved.
Were you guys worried about making that choice where now you are kind of
Well, we did have a couple of other names that were turned away by the trademarking. We weren't allowed to.
Oh, they had already been taken.
No, they weren't taken. There's just so many rules about what can be trademarked and what can't be. And so this was, the best route for us since we wanted to use local marijuana and cannabis. We have, now we have to.
Well, yeah, and then I think the other thing was like, it's so funny, like she was saying about the trademarking. It's crazy because we had Humboldt flavor. We were going to trademark that. We'd filed a couple applications. They're like, flavor's too generic. And what do you mean by flavor? Like, are you talking about a flavor profile? Are you talking about, something specific? It was just, they wouldn't let us trademark that. And that is part of it. So we have Humboldt Sugars now trademark. It's a California cannabis trademark. So we have a trademark on it now.
Yeah, that whole trademarking world seems just hectic.
It is.
Yeah.
No, we have lots of talk about rejection. We were rejected multiple times. But
wow.
We finally kind of stuck with it, and then it was funny because we hired this law firm, and then they're like, "Yeah, we do cannabis trademarks," and then they were like kept submitting it, but not submitting it correctly.
Your lawyers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a comforting feeling.
Lawyer.
Oh, I had to get on the phone with the main guy, and I was like, "Dude,
what is happening?"
Well, I was like, "Is this not your forte?"
Yeah, did we go with the wrong lawyer?
Yeah, because you said you were cannabis, and then he's like, "You're right. Everything for the future is on us." Like, because he was charging us like the fees every time you apply. You have to pay $250 or something like that, and so he's racking up all these charges and keeps getting rejected. And I was like, "We're paying you to be the professional here. Can you show us, please, that you're professional?" And he's like, "All right, I'll just carry it until we get it closed." And he did. Yeah. That he made good on it, and he got us the trademark. So
yeah, I'd be worried about business security, the way he keeps is this intentional? What are we doing? What is happening here?
Well, I had to call him out on it too, because that's the thing. It's like, we don't have a ton of money, and I just see our law bills are just like getting ridiculous,
And just for the patent, it's not even equipment or anything. You're just spending money trying to get your name.
Yeah, exactly. And we had been through a couple other lawyers, and we kind of got jerked around a bit at the beginning because we didn't know what we were doing, And so once we kind of got a better feel of what that process was, we were able to be a little more efficient, But before then, it's like, oh yeah, talk to this guy, and it's like, okay, so we go talk to him. He's like, it's $500 to talk to me for an hour. Talk to him for an hour, and like we got nothing out of it. And then you took our $500, and we're like, this is bullshit, Like, we're working hard to try to get our foot in the door, and all these people, there's all these roadblocks, So we definitely knocked those out of the way as we went on.
It sounds like, especially in this industry, it's kind of a big upfront cost.
Yeah.
To just get in the door, not even start producing what you're making yet.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of expenses, and like we said earlier, is that we couldn't just do it on our own, like get the licensings, just because we didn't have a facility. That was the main. Oh boy, that is it infused? Oh shit.
Sorry, just opening up a joint.
We were just not getting the straight answer, and then we couldn't afford the rent on the buildings. I mean, the rent they charge per square foot was so high, and we had a building that we were going to go into. We had a whole kitchen design planned. They were going to let us put a commercial kitchen in there, and then we get to it, and the guy's like, and we had the design done, and he says, "Oh, I'm renting it to someone else. Sorry about that." As he saw our design, he probably took our plans.
And as you guys are in the process,
he took our plans, I think, and
passed them along.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
that kind of stuff.
Shitty.
Lots of that. We wasted a lot of money.
Is that particular to this industry, or is that just small business in general?
Well, I think part of it is cannabis. I mean,
it might be.
What do you think?
I think that everyone is just trying to get their foot in the door, just like we are. So there is a bit
competition. There's competition.
There's competition out there, and everyone is looking for a space to manufacture. I think manufacturing space at the time when we were looking was very hard to find. I feel like now they've really built up some places, and there are options now, maybe a little more than there were when we were starting on this journey.
I think also things have settled since legalization, so like there was this kind of this big, like it's almost like a land grab where people were like trying to get, I have this huge facility and it's all mine. I'm going to make, $10 million a year on this place. And then they had all this square footage. And then as like time went on, they're like, oh, I don't need all that, like, oh, it's not selling. And, oh, the cannabis market's crashing. And there's all the other issues that are happening in the industry in and of itself, like dealing with cash and all that stuff. So I think that once that legalization settled, there is a little more opportunity out there for people who want to get their foot in the door, even more so since we did it like a year and a half ago. I mean, I feel like now, we have some options because we moved out of our manufacturing facility because we couldn't afford it. And so we ended up making a bunch of product and putting it in with our distro. So we are actively looking for a manufacturing facility if anybody's interested.
If anybody knows of anything, reach out. Can you pass me that one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
Because we're looking, and we think now, we have our process down that we could even just rent space for a certain amount of time, move in, do a big bulk sugar run, and then be able to and then just put it in distro, and then we don't have to pay the monthly rent, and maintain a facility, and get it approved by the bureau, the cannabis bureau, or any of that stuff.
Because you guys have the process done.
Yep.
Now efficiently.
Now I think we can rent the space.
Are spaces priced pretty crazy just because of cannabis, or just because you're looking at warehouse space?
All of it. I think there's a premium. I mean, what do you think, Cara?
I think it depends on whether or not you're carrying your own license. There's so many ways people are going about it. So I just don't know. I think it's definitely industry related because there's only so much space in the cannabis zones. There's limited areas you can be. So I think the prices are industry related.
I feel like also that because it's cannabis, and I bet a lot of other people in the industry may feel the same way. They're like, "Oh, you guys make so much money,
That's
so
the
we're gonna charge,
right?
We're gonna charge you all this money." And you're like, "No, I'm a poor farmer." That's why, with all the taxes that they're trying to revoke for the county and stuff like that, is because those guys aren't making it. All those little small mom and pop farms are failing because they can't afford to stay in business because of the bureaucracy and the cannabis, gouging, that's happening. I see that a lot. And we felt it too. It's like you'd be renting a warehouse space for whatever, 75 cents a square foot, and they're charging us $3.50, so.
Do you think that's just a Humboldt County problem?
I think it's an industry-wide problem. There is that concept about, cannabis, people involved in cannabis being just like super loaded and ballers and stuff like that. And everyone's just struggling to try to make ends meet and stay in business.
I think that stems from it being, on the underground market for so long.
The
where you
black
could
market.
where you could make a little bit more money.
Well, I think that's the perception, right?
Yeah.
Going into legalization. But now that it's legal, everyone's kind of realizing like, yeah, it's almost the same with the spaces where everyone's like, oh no, I'm going to hold on to this and make all this money. And then they're like, oh, maybe not, hey, you need a place to rent, because they need help. Like everyone needs help.
Everybody's struggling.
Yeah.
So you guys don't have a license, right? A license?
No.
And what would come along? Would getting a license be advantageous or not necessarily for what you guys are doing?
Well, we needed our license. We did have a license while we were manufacturing, and we needed it to be in that manufacturing space.
Yeah, we had a shared use license at the old facility, but that is attached to the building.
We can change it.
Yeah, that's what Andy says, but I don't know if that's true. I'm gonna call.
Change it to your new building.
Change it to a new facility. Because I'm good. There's some interesting other ways to do it. Like there's co-packers, so there's people who do the packaging for you. Like we could make the sugar up here and send it to them, and they would do all the packaging for us and distribute it from their facility. They can also manufacture, so that's almost like a contract licensing type situation where we would license our product out to them to manufacture for us, and then we would be completely hands off on the production part of it, and just be doing the sales and marketing. So we are exploring that right now just because that gives us a little more flexibility, and we don't need, I don't think we need to have a full-time space right now, but maybe when we're just like, hella successful.
Is that just because you guys aren't producing an insane amount where you would need it 24/7?
It's more about sales,
Okay.
and getting sales and getting really good traction in the marketplace and seeing some sell-through on the shelves where people are coming back to buy it over and over again,
Is that the hardest part right now, is just getting those repeat customers?
That, and also
that's our goal right now.
Distro a little bit, just getting it in places that are kind of weird because those are the people that like us. Have you ever heard of, Scalabala, California? And they're like, no. And we're like, well, do you go there? No, we don't go there. And you're like, okay. So there goes a sale, because our distro or other distribution from Humboldt County, just because we're so far north, it's hard.
Makes it hard.
Yeah, and I get it. I understand why some distribution companies can't do that. I get it. I don't hold that against them. So luckily, our distribution company is pretty cool. And they're like, if you find somebody who goes to Scalabala, California, you can use them. So, they will just pick it up from them and we would pay them a distribution fee. So our distro has really been supportive of our launch of our product and helping us get out.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
How far in the state are you guys?
All the way.
All the way.
All the way. We're all the way to San Diego now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So up Malibu.
We just got into Malibu.
Yeah. We are in Monterey. Let's see. Oakland. Vallejo. What's the...
Gustine.
Gustine.
I don't even know where
Crescent
Gustine
City.
is.
Crescent City.
Crescent City.
All locally here, obviously. Yeah, we're excited. We're feeling pretty good about it.
Well, I mean, it's such a interesting I mean, for me personally, one of my biggest gripes is just how much sugar there is in every edible.
Mm-hmm.
It's that trope of the stoner that's just eating sweets, right? Sitting on the couch. So everything has so much sugar. And seeing this product and the fact that, you can kind of control that and add how much you want. Especially, you guys have the non-sugar sugar, right?
Yes, so we have a sugar-free sweetener option, and that is the monk fruit. And so, we had a lot of people say to us, we're not really doing sugar, cutting sugar out of our diet. People who are diabetic, people who are doing keto, it's great for them because they can enjoy their coffee in the morning with a stick of monk fruit sweetener, and they're getting the same benefit as the sugar.
That's awesome.
Yep.
You started with the original, it was just a sugar, right?
Yeah, we started with that. And so people started telling us, we should do a sweetener. And we did a small survey, right, on Humboldt Foodies.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked people what their favorite sweetener would be. Would it be monk fruit, stevia, and something else we asked. And the golden monk fruit won. So that's what we made. We started infusing golden monk fruit.
What is monk fruit? It's just a type of fruit?
It's a really weird fruit from China, I think. But I think it's an Asian fruit. Like it's in Indonesia and places like that. But it's super duper sweet. It's 200 times sweeter than cane.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really super sweet. So they cut it basically with erythritol, which is another sweetener that they use to mix it with. But it gives it this, the golden monk fruit has a really kind of mapley flavor. I think we brought him a sample of that.
Yeah, we put it
So you
in
can
your...
try
Oh,
it,
cool.
you can taste
Oh, sweet.
it and see what you think about it. And this whole sweetener thing is kind of funny because it's not something that people completely understand, and I feel like it's somewhat everyone has their preference, so some people do prefer sweet, stevia, or they do the drops of stevia. There's allulose, there's all the different sucroses, so there's the whole sweetener market's really interesting. Yeah.
Have you had a lot of, or any companies reach out to try to use your product in theirs where they make those gummies? Has that been a market?
Not in gummies. We have had a take and bake baking mix company, which was really funny. Yes, they reached out to us. And
Not a brownie mix, right?
Brownie mix.
Wow.
Yeah, we actually met them while we were at the Hall of Flowers in Santa Rosa last year. And they were really great. And we ended up kind of trying to do business with each other a little bit, but it hasn't worked out yet, but it may one
they
day.
wanted to launch something with like a live rosin product, and that tends to be a lot more per gram as far as cost is concerned. And so that made it just to make it effective for us to make the sugar for them to with the live rosin. But we got to quote them on it, and so I know we're in their kind of
Back of the
peripheral,
head.
like
Yeah.
if they need somebody to manufacture for them, they could.
How funny is that, though? They came forward with a...
Well, we were
Take
like,
a
I was like a
brownie.
magnet as soon as I saw their company and what they were. I was like, dude, that was our idea. And he like gave us all the swag, super cool. We like got along. We actually talked on the phone a couple times, because it is, and it's a great idea, and they're doing some baking mixes, like different types, like cakes and cookies, and it's pretty cool.
Would it be hard to keep the quantity of THC consistent when you do a take and bake product like that?
I guess from settling maybe in the package, but if you're mixing it all together, so
Balance out.
you're mixing it. If you mix it well, I think you're good. It'd be homogenized enough that it wouldn't be like, oh, all the sugar fell to the bottom and it's only
That
in
last
this
brownie.
one side of
It's
the
like,
pan. It'd be a little weird.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all
Do
about-
you have a lot of customers that are using your product for like those brownies you can buy at the store, or is it primarily like a coffee additive people are doing, or you're getting a little bit of everything?
I'm hearing both. I've heard people making cookies for parties, sprinkling them on cupcakes, and then most people, everyone who buys it uses it in their coffee or tea.
Yeah.
I think that's
I'm gonna have to try that in
the
my
most
coffee.
easy and wonderful way to use it, I think.
Yeah, and it's great for just starting out your day. Ease into it with the the cannabis sugar, the monk fruit sweetener. And then I met this lady, the 75-year-old lady, and she's like, I sprinkle it on my berries every morning. That's how she uses it. We've had some other super fans who are just like, I'm basically off pharma by using your sugar. She's like, I have a prescription for Xanax and I haven't touched it since I've gotten it. So we've gotten some good feedback from our...
Yeah, it's really fun to hear people tell us how they use it and how it's changed their lives in some ways. And I know that's kind of crazy to say, but in the case of that woman, it was really sweet to hear her say that.
Yeah.
That's got to be a great feeling when you hear that.
Oh, yeah.
That's the running trope, right, amongst people that actually use cannabis is, oh my God, it'll change your life. You're
It
not taking
will.
all these prescription pills. You're not, and it sounds cliche to say because everybody in that world already knows that. But from an outside perspective, people are like,
No, it's so
really?
true.
I still need my Xanax. I still need my antidepressants. I still need all this.
Yeah, but then, that's what's also interesting about the cannabis industry is how it's kind of gone from like, indica sativa hybrid, it's getting deeper, so now people are exploring all these terpenes and like adding terpenes to make you have an experience versus just like smoking pot. It's like, you're like, what do you want to do? You're like, first I want to vacuum my whole house and then I want to go lay in my hot tub. So they're like, oh, try this one. It starts out, really high and then you kind of chill out and then you're like, then I want to meditate and then you go to sleep. You're like, okay, that's the experience I want to have. So it's really interesting watching how that part of the industry is evolving, like the way they're like creating journeys.
And I'm sure when you guys were in it in the beginning in the industry, you kind of got to see that in a grander scheme, right?
I guess more like we were just growing pot to make money.
Yeah.
You guys weren't focused on, oh man, this strain's gonna you're gonna be able to clean your whole house.
No, we're not into the genetics or any of that stuff. But I admire the people that are, and there is so much to know and learn about that stuff. So I do not fancy myself as an expert at all on any of those topics.
Yeah, that splicing genes and taking a sample and repull.
And then they're like, it's blah, blah with this, and that, and this, and that. I'm like, whoa, I have no idea what that means. You're like, that is a foreign language to me. But
I had Craig Najedli, I don't know if you guys know him. He does Talking Trees Farm on the other day, and we were talking about that, and he's talking about back crossing strains and, trying to solidify the gene pool. And I'm over here like, I don't know what's happening. But it sounds so interesting hearing that and how you can take certain characteristics from this strain and then cross them onto this one and you get this. And then he was telling me about how some plants will become hermaphrodites, and I was like, I didn't even know that was possible.
Yes.
I mean, it's just a different world.
It is. It's a different part of the industry too, and that's why we have to support our farmers because, they're the ones who are making it all happen for the rest of us, And I think key would be to get it, if we could get it in different states, like if it could transport over state lines, I think that would be huge for Humboldt County.
Yeah, it sounds like the market here is just so saturated now.
It's California, yeah, for sure. And who knows if other states, like that's the next wave.
Well, it's crazy that it's not federally legal. That's kind of weird.
I know, it's lame. Yeah, we just it was funny. We got a call from these these girls. They have this business called Blunts and Beans up in British Columbia, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but there is a Humboldt, Canada. It's in Saskatchewan.
I did not know that.
So these girls were like, we love you so much, and we're putting on this big event, and we want you to come sponsor and like donate to the goodie bags and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. And I was like, you do know we're in Humboldt, California. And she's like, oh. They both were like deadpan silence. They were just like, and we're on Zoom, and they both were like mouths. What? We thought you were from Humboldt, Saskatchewan. I was like, I never knew there was a Humboldt, Saskatchewan, but no, sorry.
Can you take your product across the border like that?
Not legally.
Not legally. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it's legal is it legal? It's legal in Canada.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's all, it's all regulated, and they're all they have counties just like we do. So everyone's doing stuff differently, and regions, in Canada where they're doing it differently. But I was like, maybe you should make our sugar in Canada. You guys could, we could license it out to you. Let's start the first franchise and get it going.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
You get the machine and just tell them, like,
you've already got a professional.
I got the recipe.
Someone to call up.
Do some consulting, and help them get on their feet. It would be cool.
I just read the other day that, or maybe it was this morning, that Thailand is giving out 1 million plants to people that live in Thailand, just as a way to promote cannabis.
I love
it's
that.
Still illegal, and they don't want you to smoke it. But they're going to give you the plant, and as long as you have a medical condition, they're just going to kind of look the other way, is my understanding.
That sounds sketchy until somebody changes their mind, and they're like, nope, now you're on the list.
Yeah, and they've got
families.
a prince or a king over in Thailand, so it's a little sketchy, but it was interesting seeing that and being like, oh, this is the first step, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
It is. I think they cook a lot with it over there, too.
I think that was the plan, was you could make it into a tea and
Yeah,
do whatever.
you could cook it.
Yeah.
I think I read something about that as well. That's rad.
Yeah, right?
Love it.
It's comforting seeing people are starting to change their opinions on it.
I know. Well, it's being decriminalized, and not there's so much of a stigma associated with being a stoner or smoking, using cannabis. Like even my in-laws, they're wonderful, wonderful people, but they just missed Woodstock. So like they were a little bit too old, so they didn't quite get that, the whole 60s thing where it kind of became a little more mainstream, and so now they're getting into it, which is super fun, like sharing my product with them, and they're enjoying it. So that's great.
You guys both have kids?
Yes.
Is there a stigma around parents smoking pot? Is that
I don't know.
not in your guys' circle? That's a good circle
Well, no,
to
I
have.
think the thing is like everybody has their own thing about how they use it, and how they use it around their families and stuff like that, we keep it pretty low key at our house, that's just the way we roll. Kara's pretty much the same way. So, you gotta be careful though, like the edibles, a lot of kids get into them and then they get really baked and it messes them up and it's not okay. We just gotta be careful about where we store it and keeping it out of their reach and not leaving it lying around, especially edibles.
Well, edibles you could take one brownie from one company and be fine, and then eat another one from another company, and you're going to be on the floor for the next 6 hours.
Or days. Or,
yeah.
Everyone's got the bad edible. Well, not everyone, but
a lot of people have a bad edible experience.
Do you guys have a bad edible experience?
I mean, you're just getting way too high when you're. I remember being so young. I don't know how old I was. Way younger, and still just like using the shake to put into the brownie mix, just like baking it in there, and then just it just doesn't feel right.
No, yeah, and it's paralyzing, and
it can be scary. Some people go to the hospital. Some people think that they're gonna die.
Well, did you hear the video? It came out a while ago. It was about these 2 cops who smoked pot or took an edible off of somebody that they arrested, and then called 911 because they thought they were dying. And they were like, "We need help. This is happening." And the dispatcher was like, "Did you guys take anything?" And they're like, "Yeah, we took some weed and we ate it, but we're dying." It's a hilarious audio recording. I think it was from maybe 2018, 2019.
That's so funny.
Oh my God.
It happens.
Yeah, that's no fun.
Yeah.
But that's why there are things like cannabis sugar in little packets that are only 5 milligrams, and you won't hurt yourself with that. Can't hurt yourself with that.
Right, and if you're just starting, you can microdose. Just use half a pack or even just a couple grains. Start there. Some people are very sensitive to cannabis. Some people are allergic to it. And I don't think they would die, but they get really sick. So there's always that element of people being, hurt from it.
What do you guys make of those stories of people having psychotic breaks from taking edibles? Have you guys heard about those?
I think people who have psychotic breaks using cannabis probably already have some mental health issues. That's what I think.
Yeah, right? I've heard that sentiment a lot.
I think, though, that you can overdose on it. And I have a couple times. And when you do, you're kind of like, you're tripping. And if you don't recognize the fact that you're just really stoned and be like, I'm cool, everything's safe, I'm turning on the Bob Marley, you get the glass of water, maybe eat an apple or a carrot stick. It's like the best thing in the world. And you kind of have to talk yourself through it. And if people are just like, I'm so stoned,
it's easy to start spiraling down that path.
Yeah. And if they're new to using mind-altering drugs, then, that could also cause permanent, psychological damage. If they overdo it, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, and that those people might have already been predisposed to go down that path. Like, you're already on the cliff, and then this just kind of nudges you over a little bit.
and especially that mental illness can kind of, show up anytime after, in your life, essentially, you could be fine and then something could happen. So, but, we've all heard of the people taking too much acid and not being the same afterwards,
Acid's the big one.
Yeah.
Acid's the one you always hear with that.
Yeah, like too much LSD. Yeah, for sure. It happens.
Yeah. Do you guys have any experience with any other? Do you guys do hallucinogenics? No, just strictly cannabis.
Yeah, mostly cannabis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. I've only ever done that. I've never branched out into the other world yet.
Yeah. I have a friend though who's, who recently went and did the ayahuasca thing, like paid to go do the trip.
Down in South America?
No, he didn't go to South America. He was in a place on the East Coast, and you have to do all this preparation for it, like meditation and stuff like that. And he did everything in prep for it, but unfortunately, he got like a cold, and so he wasn't feeling good. And he went and did the first sacrament because they do it 3 times, like over the weekend. And he just felt so sick. And it does cause you to be like really, it can cause you to be really,
yeah, I've heard of a lot of people
violently ill.
Yeah, throwing up all over the place.
Right. And he was just like, he wasn't feeling it, so he left. But I've heard of other people having like amazing experiences on ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca and really mushrooms as well, or DMT, you hear that a lot. People go on these journeys and it's kind of life altering for
Profound,
them.
Yeah,
almost
sure.
like a religious experience. That's what you hear a lot.
And some people, that's what he said, which was really interesting, is that most of the people who were there were trying to heal old trauma. So,
I had these 2 on who are promoting psychedelics out of Arcata. Really great podcast, and they were talking about those experiences and how it kind of changes your life. Danielle came on and was talking about that, and she said that I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it was something along the lines of she never had a great relationship with children. She wasn't a big fan of kids, and then she took mushrooms and realized it stemmed from, I just didn't understand it. Like, they're so full of love and so full of life, and there's so much youth there and all of these things, and it just changed her perspective just enough where she kind of broke through that wall.
That's cool. And I think people can use the they're exploring that, like the ketamine.
Ketamine's
just
another
got
big
a
one.
prescription for ketamine. He's like, going down this road. I was like, that'll be interesting. Let's hear how it was. It wasn't a ton, but I thought that was interesting. And definitely microdosing.
Yeah, microdosing is all the rage now.
Yeah. And even LSD, people are microdosing. It's interesting.
And then there's cannabis. Which is just like the nice middle ground of, we're not going to go too crazy.
Yeah, the gateway drug.
That's weird, Brandon.
I know.
Like, if you smoke weed, you're going to start doing crack, and then you're off the cliff.
Oh, yeah, we like to go back and look at all the Reefer Madness videos and propaganda. It's so funny. It's hilarious.
It is. It's funny. Yeah, it's interesting how it's all changing, And I think people, too, just because of all the, the shootings and stuff, like people are realizing that mental health is a very big problem in our country. And so I think they're looking for ways to heal,
Yeah, it's important. And I think not just going directly to medication is important. I think trying other things, trying diet, especially working out your diet and seeing
for sure
what changes help. Because that's a big factor too. People don't really take into account is, okay, maybe I'm not eating the best food. And maybe that's messing with me in this weird way.
Yeah, definitely. Or just like all overall health and wellness seems to be a big trend in our society, where people just want to be healthy and take care of themselves. And it's a lot different than when we were growing up, I think.
Do you guys drink
alcohol? Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. Sometimes, yeah, it depends.
You're not strictly like, oh no, we do just cannabis.
Oh,
okay.
No.
I've talked to a couple of people who are strictly in one camp or the other, though. Especially alcohol. I was going to say alcoholics. People that drink alcohol, they're like, no cannabis. That's not for me.
Well, yeah.
No, we'll probably celebrate after that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about drinking is that then you use cannabis, then you get really messed up, And everyone's had a couple beers and smoked a joint and be like, whoa, what happened, So the purists, the alcohol purists, you know, they probably don't want to be that hammered and enjoy, you know, can control their scene when they're just drinking.
The one thing that always trips me up with alcohol is I never feel okay the next day.
Yeah.
You never go out drinking for a night, even if you hydrate and you take it easy and you eat food, you never feel at the top of your game the next day.
No, it does
No.
affect
It's
you.
always a subtle slight.
Yeah.
It's a sacrifice.
Yeah. I don't feel like you get that trade-off though with cannabis.
You can be hungover, but yeah, I agree. Actually, then you smoke. I use more cannabis actually. If I do have those hangover symptoms, then it's like it helps with the nausea. You know, I totally. CBD is really good too to take. I take these gummies. That's just like I'm good. Okay. I pretend. I'm really not. But
Yeah.
easier to
CBD
pretend that you're good.
Yeah, right? CBD, I was taking those CBD tinctures from Humboldt Apothecary. Those are really good. I like their
high
product.
quality,
Yeah.
beautiful product they make for sure. Do you use CBD much, Cara?
No, not really. Just go for the good stuff.
Yeah, the real stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can get it if you smoke a strain with CBD. You can get it that way, which is some people I've actually heard that smoking it with THC is actually better. You get more of the CBD. I don't know if that's factual or not.
I'm not sure. I just haven't used it a lot. I haven't really, tried using it. Right.
Yeah. I definitely use CBD and I like it because it's just like this. It's a more relaxing, like body relaxation. And it's not as mental, you know, so you kind of get this is chill. It's really chill.
Do you use it a lot?
No, not a lot, but when I need it, I do, and it works for me.
I think it mellows you out.
It does. It chills. Like it's like that's how I feel. It's just like lay in front of the fire and just like so chill. It just feels so good. It's like I'm a cat.
Have you guys thought about doing any CBD stuff with? Oh my!
I'm a cat. You know, you're just like let me stretch
and it's important to do that. It's important to be able to
unwind.
And de-stress. I think even more so, just pull yourself out of your own head every now and then.
Yeah. Some people, you know, a lot of people aren't into that. And so CBD is a good alternative, a good way for them to be able to get some benefits of the cannabis plant, you know, without having to actually just get super baked or alter their mind.
Do you feel, has it been hard trying to break into the market with a product like this where it is so general that you guys are kind of competing with everything?
100%.
Yep. People like to say that we're a niche product.
Yeah, we've been classified as a niche product. And I'm like, because it's not a gummy or a chocolate, really?
I think it's a staple because it's sugar.
And sugar's in everything. Yeah.
And people use sweeteners, you know. So one of our main market focuses is baby boomers, because they are people who use sweeteners, you know, because they were in the Second World War. It's like they were at a time where it was hard to get, you know, so they appreciate that. It's like a luxury item. You know, and that's how most people should really look at it, as a luxury item, because, you know, it's not something that you can always count on having. You know, who knows what's going to happen with the economy. And
doesn't look good now.
You know,
it's not on a good turn.
Or even just trading and transportation and, you know, all that stuff that's been happening in the last couple of years.
Was it hard bringing this product to market with COVID? Did that have an impact on you guys?
I think so, for sure. Or even maybe the time of the year.
Well, we were lucky to be able to manufacture during that time.
Yeah.
But I think that the whole
sales.
And actually the industry did pretty well with COVID. I just think that it was right at the time where we needed to be talking with many people and out and about, and that wasn't really.
It was limited.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually kind of a savior for her and I, because we're like,
we can work.
We were home, and now we don't have to be home. We have an excuse to leave, and it was just the two of us. We had our own little COVID pod, and we were just in this really, you know, pretty cool space, and we were able to just kind of really work through our production process to nail it. Nailing the dosing, and having to make several different, batches to try to figure out like how to nail it. So it's 5 milligrams every serving. We had a really good time doing that, I think.
Yeah.
How long did it take to dial that in? Here's like, okay, now we can make 5 milligrams consistently. It's not going to be 5 here, 12 here.
We had an idea, and of course there's always going to be variables in manufacturing, right? Just like, like maybe it wasn't quite enough tincture, or maybe it was a little too much, or, but when you're making larger quantities, there's a little more fudge room on that front. And we were working previously with really small quantities, just doing the testing and trying to figure out the best way to infuse it and how to make the tincture. And, we started with plant, matter. So we just get really, really good trim, and make our own tinctures that way. But that one was just really, every time it was just never the same. We just couldn't get the same results.
So that's why you outsource the tinctures.
That's why we outsource the distillate.
The distillate, yeah. Yeah.
Because it's more consistent.
The distillate is just consistent because it's just the THC and it's high in THC. It's like, usually around 90%. So it's easy for us to work with. We don't have to use a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have a specific strain that you go to for that?
Well, when you're...
Does it matter?
We could ask, specifically ask for that, but our only requirement is that it's from Humboldt County, that the flower is from Humboldt County, because when you make distillate, the only thing left is the THC. You're not really getting any of the terpenes. You're not really getting any of the plant. You're just getting the THC. So it doesn't really
play a factor into it.
I think we use a hybrid, it's a hybrid strain. So, but the first round we had like how many farms? There's so many farms, like all these Humboldt County farms. But this last one we did, it came from one farm, and Arcata X is making the distillate we're using right now, and it's super good, really good, clean, smells good.
Yes.
Once you get it on the sugar, it doesn't smell. But when you're working with like big jars,
yeah, probably all hits you. You're like, oh.
And when you first like, how do we get it out of the jar? And then you'd like stick a stick in there, and you're like, oh no. And then you're like Winnie the Pooh, and it's like honey, like stretched from one instrument to the other. And Cara and I are like, hold it, I gotta pull my hand off this thing, and it was great.
Yeah. Then we got a hot gun, and that worked, or whatever.
We figured it out.
Yeah.
We definitely figured
those
it
little
out.
tweaks of, okay, maybe we do this next time, and it's gonna pan out a little bit better. There was a learning
process for sure, especially working, like I said, with larger quantities and stuff. And we have a lot of awesome equipment that we used, and we decided that we were going to use like an industrial grade tumbler, that like it was a food grade tumbler, so we could homogenize our big batches and make sure it was all the same.
Oh, that's smart.
So we've worked up some systems that work for us. And then the machine, like Cara has it completely dialed. Like, at first it was like, Cara's like at the top, making sure the sugar's not flying everywhere. And I'm like at the bottom, receiving the little sugar packets.
We were like, we're never going to be able to do this without 2 people.
I know.
This is a 2-person job for sure.
Yeah.
And then now we're like, oh, cool. The machine's running on the other side of the room, and we're doing other stuff. So we've come a long way.
Yeah, it's been cool. But we would love to do a collab with other sweet manufacturers, or make ice cream, or if anybody wants to contact us about that, we would totally be really into having some conversations about how to use our sugar, by bulk, and we can totally customize it. Mm-hmm. In a bunch of different ways. So like we could, if you want to use a specific farm, or you have a specific distillate, or you want to make a CBD one, like we have our process down. So if we can count on the input being what it says it is, that's testing right on, then we can customize it, make it really low dose, make it higher dose. Use the live rosin. We made some live rosin for some people. We're going to make some live rosin sugar for this event where they're doing a curated dinner that's using all these different live rosins from different farms or manufacturers, and they're infusing all the food.
Oh, that's cool.
And so we're going to make, I got some samples from a friend, and we're going to infuse some sugar for them for that event.
Is it harder working with a product like that where it's like live resin, or no? It doesn't really make a difference on your end.
No, it doesn't really make a difference.
No, not once it's infused and it goes through our process. It's pretty stable. And God, we made this live resin lemon sugar that was like freaking phenom. It was basically like
a pixie stick.
It was like
a lemon pixie.
Yeah, it was just sour. I put a little sour stuff and some lemon oil and some live rosin. It just smelled so good, and it was just a completely different product. And live rosin has its benefits too. The whole full spectrum thing. Those gummies and all that, those edibles like that. Those are really good. I like them too. But the distillate for us is just it doesn't smell and it doesn't taste, and I think it's appealing to a larger
audience.
Mm-hmm.
Go out.
Yep.
What do you think your age demographic is right now? Do you guys have any? Would you guess on that?
I would say the
feel
older
like,
crowd,
for sure.
like
30 and
30 and up.
Mhm.
30 and up. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just because. Go ahead. Just because it, it's low dose, and there's a lot of that age. Well, maybe not 30, but like the boomers, like I said, 50 and above, people who are just now, because it's legal. So now it's like the stigma's kind of being removed and people are exploring it. And it's so funny because I was just down in Santa Rosa and Ukiah, and there's this big wedding party, and there's all these people from all over the country there. They're all like, oh, yeah, I got the gummies, We're like, do you? Because basically when I talk to people, they're like, do you use cannabis? And it's like, yeah. It's like, I smoke every day. Or, yeah, I got my gummies, Then I'm always like, oh, you want to try my sugar? And we just, hand out sticks. I did a lot this last weekend down in Santa Rosa and Healdsburg. I was just like, oh, do you use cannabis? Here you go. Have a stick.
That's perfect promo.
Yeah, it's
just
great.
Like, here, try a little stick, see what you think.
Yeah. Look us up. Follow us on Insta, It's cool. It's just a good way to open the conversation.
And I think it spreads more organically that way. When somebody just tries the product and is like, okay, this is cool. I'm going to go tell my friends about this.
Totally. What about Hollywood when we went to Hollywood?
Oh, yeah, that was fun. We were giving it to everyone.
Yeah, we were just like on
just
the
along
streets.
the strip?
Yeah, we're in West Hollywood, and so there's a lot of cannabis dispensaries in West Hollywood. Melrose, we like hung out down there, and they'd never seen anything like us before, Like we were just walking down the street with our sticks stapled to our business cards, so we just like, do you use cannabis? You do? Here. Oh, it's on Instagram. Everyone's like, oh, thanks. We had all kinds of friends. It was really cool.
I bet you guys had a lot of people coming up.
And now we're in delivery services, so people all over California can essentially get our product.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that from you guys or from local stores?
The Flower Co. and MJ.
It's statewide, yeah. Mm-hmm. And MJ is a delivery service.
Can you guys do direct to consumer? Can somebody go to your site and buy it? No. Is that a different
We don't have
license?
The transport. You'd have to... Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, that's not allowed.
Different process.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know. Can people... I
don't
hear
know.
People can order it online, but I feel like they're ordering it from... Like, the Flower Co. delivers statewide, like, within 24 hours or 48 hours. Like, anything off their menu. So... I'm sure there's limitations. Like, okay, I live in Peanut, California,
It might take a little longer.
You might not make it out there. You might have to drive to Etna to get it, or whatever. But as far as I can tell, that's like, it's a statewide organization, which is great.
I've never heard about it.
Yeah, it's called the Flower Co. And I think if you can become a member and you get all kinds of really good discounts and stuff like that, too.
And you guys are on Flower Co?
Yeah, and they're local, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're local.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you guys use cannabis? Every day in my coffee.
Daily.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes not till, the afternoon. That's like instead of a beer or something, I'll just do a bong hit.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite method? Besides the sugar, of course.
I like smoking. I like joints.
I smoke.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I use edibles. It just depends. The thing with the edibles is you always got to eat them early enough so that it doesn't keep you up.
Yeah, that's a big thing, right?
Yeah. I just like sometimes I'm like, oh, I really want to have it. I was like, shoot, it's already 8:00.
I'm
if
about
I
to go to
this
bed.
Now, I'm not gonna. But I know it would make me feel so chilled. So I'm like, I just want to eat it. But Then I'll have one of those CBD gummies. I'm like,
I have some friends that'll take like a 5 milligram edible before they go to bed, and they said it helps them sleep. But
well, there's a sleepy, because that's so cool. Is you can buy like the sleep gummy or the vacuumy gummy or that's what I call them because it's like I just always want to vacuum, but I'm really high on edibles. Like clean, feels so good. All different kinds, right? Of edibles.
yeah, and different types in the sense you can really get whatever you want now.
Mm-hmm.
Candy, a cookie.
Popcorn,
a fast-acting tablet.
Yeah.
I didn't know about popcorn.
Yeah,
That's a new one.
Popcorns, and they have
Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks. Those are good. We like those.
Those were good.
I haven't tried the Pop Rocks.
Pop Rocks. Those are cool. Yeah, it's amazing. And the drinks, like the drink industry has gotten really big.
I think they have wine now too. Cannabis infused
what?
wine. I think that's a new thing.
But is that legal? It's not legal. You can't mix
I
alcohol
think-
and cannabis yet.
You can't. Oh,
Not legally.
Maybe they're using.
Maybe there's no
weed.
alcohol in the wine. I don't know. I thought there
Bummer.
was a cannabis
Bummer.
infused wine. Well, I just
Maybe
got
it is.
shot
Maybe
down.
You're going to have to do some
non-alcoholic
investigating on it.
Yeah.
I'm
Like-
sure there are people. I have some friends who I live out in Fieldbrook, and they have a little cider farm, and they've been using our sugar to activate their yeast. And then afterwards, they finish with a little 5 milligrams of the cannabis, and they put it in each bottle. And so we have this cider that has our sugar in it.
Oh, are they selling that?
Serena Farms, no, not legally.
okay.
No, it's just kind of like he makes a bunch.
Just for some, just for
Passes it
friends.
out to
Yeah.
friends.
Mhm. Yeah. it's
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, you can really use it for whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah.
Right? There's not really any limitations.
No, you could make simple syrups, and we've come up with some cool ideas about what we would do, like come up with a bar line. I think would be really bitchin', like a finishing rim sugar,
Yeah.
and get the packaging. It's just all that stuff is so expensive to like come up with all of that, but have a little package where you could just dip your glass in and using it for cocktails, make simple syrups.
So what's the stage right now? Just grow the customer base and then focus on kind of branching out to whatever you guys want to do.
Yeah, and finding a new manufacturing space, is also kind of, or just figuring that process out.
Is that not the Willow Creek spot?
We're out of there.
Oh.
Yeah, we're no longer there. So we did that big push and made a bunch. And
that's to kind of hold you guys over until you find a new spot.
Yep.
Do you guys have any idea of where you're looking at?
We have a couple of people that we've talked to recently. We're just trying to decide and get the timing right.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's kind of like, make or break, this year for us, because our, the last large batch we made is expiring in November, and we need to sell that, get it out. And so we've got a few months left to try to make that happen. But we've been getting a lot of action lately and getting some
we're very hopeful.
Yeah. Well, and then the Insta stuff, like you were talking about, like getting involved on that. Like we've met a lot of cool people that have been promoting our product, and we hook them up with some sugar, and they're like, oh yeah, well let me tell everyone about it. So that's been really cool too.
Are you guys on TikTok? So I'm sure you shook your head like, oh, we've been asked that a lot.
We are. We have an account on TikTok, but we do not have anything on it.
We should put or at least some of our real stuff on there. That'd be fun.
I'm not on there, but I've heard that TikTok is a very powerful way to grow whatever you're trying to grow very quickly. You can really gain a lot of traction with that.
We need someone young to come give us a call and help us. With
Anybody
TikTok.
listening is interested.
Yeah, anybody interested.
Fluent in social media.
Yes, give us a call or a little internship or a trade. Holla. Because I feel like that is. I love TikTok. Do you?
I don't even have it downloaded.
Oh my goodness!
I'm worried I'd get addicted, and that's all I'd be doing is just scrolling.
It's like my guilty pleasure. Do you get on it?
No.
Oh God, it's so great because it's just such a like pan of, America and the world too, but just what people do just the craziest, weirdest, most interesting things. And, you can get into with some weird stuff, but you can also it's just really, really entertaining. Really entertaining. Yeah, for sure. But I just have to limit it.
Well,
Give myself like a half an hour in the evening.
Right?
It's just fantastic. But then you're like, oh, and I want to share this with this friend and that friend. And oh my God, somebody would get this, And then you're like, slow it down. Just watch it. Half an hour and put it down.
It's never just half an hour.
It is. Yeah, for me. And then I forget about it. And then I'm like, oh yeah, TikTok. That's what I can do.
Yeah, Instagram catches me up. I'll pick it up every now and then and just start scrolling. And then it's been an hour and a half and you're still sitting in the same spot.
Yeah.
What did I just do? Yeah.
I know, but it's interesting because to me, I love looking at culture and, it depends on what you're into and what you're following, but it's just you can find out about anything and things you've never heard of. And I like all the nature stuff, we saw these cool animals and places to go on the planet and beautiful people. I like that.
It is a great tool,
most
right?
of mine is all travel.
Yeah.
Travel.
Cooking, food stuff. Yeah. It's neat.
I mean, you can just look out into the world and see whatever at the press of a button, whatever you want to see, whatever video you're interested in.
I know.
It's right there.
It's so fascinating.
And there's hundreds of thousands of them, if not millions.
I know. And I try not to like too much because I always you start out very vague and general, so then you kind of get stuff from all different, because that's kind of, it's, and I'm sure there's some sort of computer program that's following everything you like and, pushing you in directions that maybe you don't want to go on that app. So I always try not to like too much so that I just get all that, just everything. It's fascinating.
Yeah, I'm scared. Hearing you talk about that freaks me out. I'm like, I don't need to download TikTok.
TikTok? Yeah, TikTok is great. I don't know. I like it.
Everyone that uses it loves it. I haven't heard anything bad.
And just think about what they've manipulated part of the, things happening in the government. Don't go to that, protest or that rally that Trump had, where TikTok was heavily influential in preventing that rally being full, that Trump rally. Because all the kids were bought tickets to go, but you had to be 18 or over, but they didn't have a box that you could check or something. And so basically all these kids on TikTok bought tickets.
Oh, so nobody else could buy tickets.
So no one else could buy tickets. And that's why the rally was empty, because these genius children are manipulating.
Was
government.
That recent?
Yes. Trump.
I didn't hear about that.
Yes. You have to look it up.
Yeah.
No, they're influential. That's the thing. And that's why they shut it down in China and stuff. Because they're like, wait, you have power now, We want to be in power. So.
Yeah, China and social media gets a little scary.
Yeah, it's weird.
China in general gets a little scary.
Yeah. Yep. So, do you do a lot of podcasting, or are you just...
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
This is almost my second year of doing it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm still kind of like you guys, just branching out.
Yeah.
Just trying to test the waters.
It's interesting. And do you have a day job? Can I interview you
now
a little bit? Can we interview you?
Let me go sit on this side of the day. We'll swap sides. Yeah, I work during the day and then I try to squeeze these in whenever I can and
that's neat.
Whenever somebody's schedule allows for it.
Cool.
Kind of varies. Yeah. It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
I had a fun time. My first podcast.
Yeah.
And I listen to podcasts too,
What's your go-to podcast?
Radio Lab and Dateline, probably.
Have you ever heard of Crime Junkies?
Yes.
That's a great podcast.
Yes.
We listen to that a lot.
Did you listen to the message last week about Britt?
Yeah.
What happened?
She had a brain, something happened. She had brain surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's in the hospital. She's messed up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like a tumor or a
no,
brain
she
injury?
had a seizure. A blood clot.
A blood clot.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah. Now she's just all on there.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what, Brett? What am I doing?
No.
But I do. Yeah.
Poor Brett.
We're Crime Junkies for sure.
Oh, God. Yeah. Great podcast.
It's so good.
I got into listening to that as I fell asleep for a while. I was like, this is probably not the best.
Good dreams.
Yeah.
Good dreams.
You don't want to feed your brain that right before you
Yeah.
go to bed.
Yeah.
A little earlier in the night.
Yeah. Yeah, I like podcasting. So
Yeah.
we really are really happy to be here. And
No,
thanks
I'm happy
for
to have you guys.
reaching out.
Yeah.
And, if you ever want to do like a panel, like we'll come back.
Yeah,
and,
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited you guys brought some swag. I'll push that out to the next
Yeah,
guest.
definitely
and see if we
give
can
it a
start
try,
spreading the word.
too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was funny too because Cara's sister again, she was like, I'm just gonna search on YouTube for Humboldt Sugar, and then she finds what is it,
Oh, yeah.
the Dank Dabbin Cabin.
Yeah, there was a guy who does, Dank's Dabbin Cabin, and he reviewed our product. He's like, I stopped in Eureka today, and he had the product. He's like, I picked up some Humboldt Sugar Company, and sat there and opened it and talked about it for I don't know how many minutes. It was
that's
lengthy. And
Like randomly on, just searching
it's so
YouTube
funny. And
for
we're like,
Humboldt
oh my
Sugar.
gosh, look at this. And we were so happy. We tried to send him a message. We should look.
Yeah, but that was interesting.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we've had some weird, interesting doors open too. Doing what we're doing, like we met.
going to
we got
visit.
meet Pebbles when she was here.
Mhm.
She's a cannabis activist, and it's just been really interesting. And doing demos and stuff like that is just really cool to see people, and we love it.
Yeah, I bet you can meet a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds.
Yeah, we do.
And some part of the cannabis industry is a little bit like not square, but just like, okay, this is my little scene. And, we come in and we always love like flowers and cupcakes and glitter.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whoa, you guys are fun, and either people want to talk to us or they don't. But either way, we're really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
And we're really grateful for everyone for helping us get our foot in the door and get out there.
And you said this is make or break time. Is that in terms of just getting that, what you have already produced? You said November.
Yeah, getting it out by November. That's our main goal.
How much are you guys producing in a batch?
About 24 to 2,500 units, probably.
Mm-hmm. That's like
2,000 to 22.
it's like 150 pounds of sugar or something.
Oh,
like
wow.
that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of sugar.
It is.
Mhm.
Well, it's a lot when it's in a 2-gram stick.
Yeah.
So you should see the mountains of sticks we have to
man.
package, and we do all that ourselves,
And so you guys, I'm guessing it's probably just stored at somebody's house, and you guys are pushing it out.
No, we have a distribution company. We have
Oh,
to
so
hold- we
you
have to
oh
throw
you
it there.
so you don't have to hold on to your stock until you.
No,
Oh, that's
so
nice.
they're
Okay.
storing it for us. They've been, like I said, they've been great.
Oh, that's
supporting
cool.
us. Yeah. Peak
Mhm.
Industries has been wonderful. Yeah.
What's the shelf life?
Well, the shelf life is
It's
however
indefinite.
long. I mean, it's sugar.
5
so.
years, I think, you can
Okay.
keep sugar.
Mhm.
What's the November deadline then?
Well, in the cannabis world, you can only have stuff on the shelf for 1 year.
Unless you retest it. So then you got to pay that massive testing fee
Oh, that's
to get it
sneaky.
retested, and then you have to relabel it all with a new sticker. So it's just more money,
They
You're
want their
already
cut.
like all stripped down to the bare essentials on this thing, But if it comes down to it, if it seems worth it, but we'll see. We might be like, well, we're just going to go for it. And then by then we hopefully would have our third batch going out. Big batch.
That's weird. That year mark is weird.
It's just more control.
Yeah. I would understand if it was a made product, I guess. So
Like a brownie or something.
Yeah,
or
something
cookie
that does have
that
an
was
inherent
baked.
shelf life, but
Mhm.
sugar, that's
Yeah, I wonder if, distillate. I know that like the flour obviously has a shelf life, but I wonder if other stuff that's really packaged well, if
or like
it
a
has
tincture with that. I wonder if that
tincture or
extends.
like a distillate or some of the concentrate stuff. If it would, it seems like it would though degrade over time, no matter what. It's interesting. I think it loses its potency. And that's probably, it might do that, after a couple of years, it may not be as strong. Where would it go, though? It seems like it would all
Where
just
does
be
it
there,
Just evaporates.
It's just like, I don't want to be stony anymore.
Just goes back to right. Well, then you could just market it as sugar. Oh, this is just sugar, now.
It's
Yeah.
lightly infused
Yeah.
sugar. It's kissed sugar. THC
Microdose sugar.
Yes. Cool.
Okay, well, Cara, Jessica, thank you guys. This has been great.
Thank you.
I really
so
enjoyed
much.
talking with you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Do you want to plug where people can find you, where you're at?
Sure. You can find us on Instagram at Humboldt Sugar Co. Also on Facebook at Humboldt Sugar Co. And our webpage is humboldtsugar.com.
And you can purchase it locally.
Yeah, you can find our sugar locally in a bunch of dispensaries. You can find the list on our webpage. And yeah, that's it. You can contact us on our website. Absolutely.
Any social media wizards that want to help out, feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Feel free to holla.
Or anybody with a warehouse.
Yeah,
Just looking for
if you're looking for someone you want to rent some of your manufacturing space, we would be interested in having a conversation. Absolutely.
Okay.
And then we'll be doing live demos and stuff around here too. So just keep an eye out.
Just keep an eye out on our Insta. We always say where we're going to be when we do a demo, when we're having awesome promos, when we're giving things away, all that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. We're going to San Francisco next week. We're doing a demo at the Flores store in the Castro district on Tuesday afternoon. What is that? The 17th?
Yep.
From 3 to 6.
Okay, if you're in San Francisco, check that out.
Come see us. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a really cool store. It's like integrating San Francisco and Humboldt together.
They have all Humboldt products there.
Yeah.
It's a dispensary?
Yeah. The dispensary called the Flores store in the Castro, San Francisco.
And that's kind of where a lot of the beginnings of the 215 bill was written right in that area, by a bunch of people. So they have there's some really, really heavy Humboldt and just cannabis roots in that part of San Francisco. It's neat.
Do you guys do a lot of demos out of the area like that?
When needed, yes. And we're talking with some other people about helping us do that, like if we can't travel. But yeah, we're starting to do that now as we're getting more sales. So who knows, we may be in Malibu soon.
Yep.
That'd be a fun little trip.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Okay.
Okay,
all right.
awesome. Thanks,
Nick.
guys.